All right, here we go. How's it going, everybody? We've got some new friends we're going to meet today, Lee and Sherry Patterson. Another couple that's been our accentuation this month. Morgan's found about 20, 25 couples that we can sit down with and talk to and maybe pick up some code. Here's a little information about Lee and Sherry Patterson. They run a website called, and we'll talk about it, relationshippreinvented.com. They say consciousness is the being that has always lived within you and connects you to everything. It is the stillness and the silence between each thought. Consciousness, which is beyond, ran out of room there. Some of the words didn't come through. Let's see. Connecting through a deep soul connection. We show you your connection to yourself in ways you never knew possible. Remove limitations, suffering, and create a space to give and receive love unconditionally. As we raise our level of consciousness, we automatically give others the permission to do the same, and we heal the world one conscious moment at a time. It's our relationshippreinvented.com. All those letters run together. So let's get them up here and get to know them a little bit and talk about what's happening. And as well, talk about the relationship and what's been like to navigate the ascension as a couple. Let's see. Unmute. How's it going?
Hey, how are you?
What's going on, Lee and Sherry?
Oh, we're doing our thing today. I'll tell you what.
Man, it's just crazy out here.
We just watched the news and went, okay.
Yeah,
They're it's a different direction, aren't they?
It's all right.
Well, you know.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm just watching the what do you call it? A sideshow?
Yes,
that's what it
that's
is.
It.
Yeah,
it's
it's literally a way to make sure that we all stay connected, even when we're being told to stay disconnected.
True.
It's
yeah,
quite interesting.
Things are never what they seem. Isn't that the way that the universe works, in a paradoxical manner anyway?
Absolutely, you know? Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of things happen behind the scenes that we don't yet know about.
Yeah, well, I think things happen behind the scene that we don't know about. They happen behind that scene.
Yeah, that's
so, you know, at the end of the day, it's just all drives us right back to ourselves. Absolutely. You know, that's the only, that's the only safe haven, really. You know, I mean, it's our own, just like what you talked about in your little message. But I just want to say, big gratitude for coming on and sharing space with us and honoring us with your presence. This isn't a typical talk show. You're welcome to ask questions as well. I mean, it's a conversation. Awesome. And we have Morgan received, the information to try to load up this month with as many couples as possible. They're not that easy to find.
No.
You know, but you guys seem to have certainly the code and the characteristics in that you have the union, but you also have a joint purpose, joint mission that's kind of materialized. You can call it that third energy, that Trinity energy, or whatever it may be.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched the Sandra and Alan, and then we watched Trevor and Eileen. So yeah, we kind of all have been on this road together. So it's been quite interesting the way things all played out, the way that everything comes together, and then how it circles around and comes back together.
yeah.
Usually a deep experience.
So everybody that tunes into this type of broadcast, for the most part, I would say everybody, has had some type of wake up experience. A lot of people experienced a lot of successive traumas, serious medical conditions, car accidents, estrangement from family and friends, being told we were crazy. Did you guys go through yours separately, or did you go through it together?
Yes. Yes.
I would say both.
Both.
Both were definitely. I mean, we went through. We kind of met in 2005. We just messaged back and forth a little bit on a dating website, not expecting it to open up anything, but then you get your soul struck. You know, you just kind of have those moments where you spend some time together and you're going, okay, what is this, and why isn't there anything out there like this? And I think for both of us, it was a shock to our system because we had never experienced connection. I mean, you think you do, but you really don't know for sure. A lot of it has been relationship based until I met her and went, okay, how come I can feel you? What is this? And how come I can feel what you're,
and I can hear you.
I can hear you. What's going on
If
with
you're
it?
choking, I'm not breathing right.
And
Something's
then,
not,
you know, you get into the space where you go in your head and go, okay, is that them talking or is that me talking? And yeah, we went through
She's
lot
a
of,
witch.
went through the witch, I wasn't very spiritual or very religious at the time that I met her. I claimed to be spiritual, but didn't really study anything as far as the workings of my own connection to myself. I had no clue. So a lot of things that I think that we went through, whether it was family or whether it was just coming together, we had a very unique way that we came together.
Wow. How did that happen? And how long ago was this? Was this in the early 2000s?
Let's see, 2005.
2005.
And then by 2000, I left. I separated for like 2 years. And
Oh,
came
this
back.
journey's been 15 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
And
man,
we've been.
thanks, God. That was enlightening.
She always is claiming that she won the lottery the day that she found out she was connected to me. But I think you say that in a very exaggerated way.
No, I said, what lottery in hell?
Oh, that's the best way.
Because this has been the most challenging thing really anybody has ever come across.
True.
It really is challenging because what we try to do is try to have a relationship with one another. In the beginning, we wanted to have a relationship like everybody else does. And it's just wasn't working. Because I could feel him. So when I would say things like, how are you doing? I'm fine. Well, no, you're not. You're not fine. You just can't say that. But we were trying to really put a big, huge human aspect on it.
Yeah. And
expectations and so much that we were trying to put on it. We were going to be in a human relationship and a twin flame union, and it's going to be great. And
then there was, you know, the way that our thinking got involved in our connection.
That's the problem.
Which I think is what's been our mission, and that's what you see when you look at Relationship Reinvented. You know, it came from trying to be with her in different ways of every relationship I've ever been in, but literally none of it worked.
Right.
Made any sense. So, you know, you have relationship over here and you have connection over here, and the rules for relationship, because you have rules, you didn't have any in this connection.
Right.
The connection didn't seem to, it knocked down more walls and pulled out more wounds than I think either one of us really knew at that time that we even carried. Because you think you make a lot of choices about relationships and love based on things that you've been through. But really, it kind of results back into what you got wounded by more than it is what you didn't. So when we were really trying to come together, it became a total disaster in a lot of different ways, a lot of different times. But it wasn't until I think we reached a certain level of consciousness that we realized we weren't going to be with anyone else. And I think that was the merge that happened in 2012.
It was a point of separation too.
It was at a point of separation with other people going different directions, never wanting to be together, but knew that we were always connected. But there was this feeling.
Yeah.
That
it was a knowing.
It was definitely a knowing.
Yeah.
And we didn't realize how much the truth needed to be put into our connection. Because sometimes you don't necessarily know how deep the truth actually goes. So the more we started telling each other the truth, the deeper the connection was, the stronger the pull to be together was. Because you know, you're there telling yourself you're not good enough for this connection, you don't deserve, or you know, all that stuff started pouring out of us. But we were saying it like the other person doesn't want to be with us. We weren't picking up on it, because that's usually the way that it's communicated.
Yeah,
you
know? like the things that you don't want anyone to know.
Right. You definitely don't want anybody to know, but I will tell you, Todd, it was heaven once we did. I think that's where we found our peace, but then we started realizing there was more to it than what we were even actually going through at that time.
Yeah.
And my beautiful twin here decided, you know, we've got to, people are focusing on the connection to each other, not focusing on the connection they have to themselves. And I was like, huh? And so she wrote out 11 simple questions that you wouldn't think would change your mind, but would literally help you see how you connect to yourself in ways that you never knew was imaginable. Because you carry a lot of things from being taught history, you know. Hey, if you watch what happened to you in the past and keep that along with you, you're going to keep making the same choices. This is literally what happens. So we started really looking at that. We're like, well, is this where the belief systems lie? Is it up underneath all of those wounds, or is it covering the wounds? So she created Root Camp, which Relationship Reinvented, that's their signature thing, is being able to take people through their tree.
What did you call that?
Root Camp.
Root Camp.
Root Camp.
See, my wife put me through a boot camp.
Oh, okay, same thing.
This is very different.
Except
I was laughing because she was saying that it's the most challenging thing that you could ever do, and I'm hearing that from the divine feminine out of your mouth. And my wife was from Australia, and so she came over, and she's like, it sounds like this is where this is going. She was like a little bit more in the knowing, and had been, you know, down that path a lot longer than I had. Anyway, so she recognized I had a lot of shadow, and she's an energy practitioner. So when she came over, she said, you know, we got to get to work. And so I think it was 3 or 4 mornings after some work was being done, and I was in resistance, not knowing I had shadows, because I thought I was connected and everything was cool. She ran outside. She tells the story. She ran out. She ran outside and said to her higher self, started cussing. Or I don't know if she was cussing, but she said, "What the hell did you get me into? You brought me all the way over here for this."
I've had that same conversation with the universe.
Well, I know that's been a long time back, but so one of the things that looks very similar, and not just in my relationship, is she had a better connection, or you know, well, they don't call it women's intuition for nothing, but I mean, so you were more connected, and Lee was less conscious, let's put it that way, even though he was probably connected.
He was unconscious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get all the way real. He was very unconscious. And I was on my way to joining him in that unconsciousness.
Mm. Oh, because you were trying to enter a relationship based on the old rules.
Yes. Yeah.
Very much so.
And then that's when we started realizing that we were trying to build an emotional connection without sharing our emotion. And I think that's what really started to reflect in us, is we really started to see that it really wasn't that we were trying to connect to relationship rules, but relationship rules had that space where you really felt like, yeah, if I tell her I think this way about myself, then that's going to be a space in there that I'm not necessarily going to feel like she's going to trust me. And I started to realize, wait a minute, I'm actually dictating to her what she's supposed to experience with me.
Yeah.
And literally when we met, that's the one thing you don't have. You don't have that space. You're not trying to control anything. You're free.
Yeah.
So everything that we had built in our emotional connection started to show up, and we started really talking about it. But then we started realizing there were loopholes, things that we had been through that we really never talked to anybody else about. And some of those things you wouldn't think are big things, but they carry a really strong weight. I mean, we both grew up fatherless. It wasn't intentional, but the way things played out, just looking at how things get connected, we knew how to separate from each other based on that.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of stuff where I started to realize that things that you endure with your family have a way of showing up in connection.
Yeah.
And never being able to feel like you could open up or share that with somebody, we realized every single time we did that, our connection got stronger.
Yeah.
To the point to where even the physical aspect of our connection, she could stub her toe and my toe was throbbing. And I'm going, okay, what is this? It says, well, we're following the pattern connection. Back during the time where I didn't understand what that meant, my unconscious era, as you put it, it felt different because nobody really was trying to get me to be conscious. They were just trying to get me.
Yeah.
Which I think everybody goes through, right? Yeah. So, breaking through different levels of consciousness towards each other, there was a lot of unconsciousness that we had to go through. And understanding that unconsciousness and understanding where it was coming from. So when we started doing root camps with a bunch of different people, we started to see this wasn't just us. Vibration and frequency aren't the only thing impacted. It's all the damn static.
Yeah.
So when we were like, hey, we've got to really kind of figure this out. But we were like, do we figure this out together or do we figure this out apart? And
so now, A, what is root camp in general? And B, were y'all conducting the root camp? One of the both of you?
We both do. We've also got some coaches that we've certified under us to do it as well. We put them through a rigorous training program. But yes, we still do them personally. It's an 8-week program that we've created. And as Lee said, it's got 11 questions, and you might think that they're very simple questions, but what happens is my amazing twin here has this amazing capability of making this sort of mental map. So just by answering those questions, he can see where they're disconnected, where they've been disconnected, why they act, why they react the way they do, why this person has abandonment issues, why this person has so much fear, why this person's in so much pain all the time, identifying why you run, why you allow certain activities to happen in your life, why you allow certain things to happen with your body and your mind, all of these things, and the one you're connected to. It kind of is one big map. My husband, amazing guy, is able to put that down on paper somehow and explain it to our clients in a way that just will blow your mind. And we've put hundreds of people through the root camp program. It will change your life. It's life changing.
It's amazing. It's amazing what simple task, how they can unlock the the recesses of the subconscious mind. You know,
Yeah.
it's not rocket science.
No.
But
so
it's done just like this.
It's done just like this.
It's usually very, we have one person, or sometimes we take two people through it, but we'll do it as mom and dad, and we actually are going in as an expedition to find their inner child. Yeah. Because if you're not connected to your own inner child, you can't look for connection outside of you. It's just going to keep eluding.
Now, how did this in the beginning, what you were referencing earlier, you guys were participating in this and everything started to come to the surface? Is that what happened?
Spirit went in her dream, and her and Spirit sat down, and she woke up and wrote down the 11 questions from the dream.
I finally looked at him and said, look, I've been having these prophetic dreams. I mean, these dreams are just intense. And it's putting me through sort of and I even called it a boot camp at that point, a boot camp, like a self boot camp. And I'm looking at these roots, and it was our relationship that had me looking at myself, like, why in the heck is this happening? And I looked at him and I said, I really feel like universal source, or whatever it is you call it, really is putting us in a position where other people who are connected in this spiritual way, who don't understand it, we can help. We can get them through it. We can guide them through another direction, because we took that way and it wasn't great. So we'll help guide you down this way, and it's a lot less messy.
So then the second part, because this is 2 parts, her dream was that way. Then when I read the 11 questions, I cried, because I couldn't understand what my dreams were telling me. So it was the second part of the dream, because I kept dreaming of pyramids, but I wasn't catching that it was a triangle. Then I didn't catch that the triangle was representing the inner child and the mother and the father. And if these were broken in any direction, that literally when we were asking these questions, I can see where it's broken. And I can trace it all the way back generationally. Yeah. Sometimes you're carrying stuff that was just inherited for generations.
Now, was this something that in the onset, you actually did it yourselves? Like, this information came in and you applied it to yourselves?
Put ourselves through first, for sure.
Yeah. We still do.
We still do.
I don't think that I think we still daily go through our own. And even when we take people through it, we're still taking ourselves through deeper places of it. We kind of hold back, depending on if the person can speak from their consciousness. We know that they can hear from their consciousness, but I think what ends up happening is they get in their mind, because the mind is not the same thing as consciousness. Those two are not the same thing. One is actually just kind of observing everything you're doing. The other's yelling and screaming about it.
Yeah.
So it's like, the difference. So then when we started doing these, I started going, hey, there's specific things that they're saying, and the way they're enunciating, their body language starts to change. And we didn't realize it, but we were learning emotion at that time, because we knew that emotion was the mind's reflection in the body, but when you see it real time, it makes more sense. Yeah. So the exploration for Root Camp is more of those unanswered emotions, because that's what usually comes up in connection that ends up making you disconnect.
Yeah. So in terms of your own evolution and MO, you still use this process as a foundational element of your relationship. And do you also just sit down and have conversations and Q&As and,
all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
All the time.
Absolutely. We're never apart. We shared one phone for years. I finally got one because she got a little sick, so I needed to have a phone just in case. But
10 years we shared one cell phone.
Yeah, one cell phone. We never were apart. We literally live, work, and are together. We're never apart.
That's a pretty strong physical representation of an energetic union.
Human relationship wouldn't be able to withstand it.
No, we're more in the being part of it.
It was challenging in the beginning. look, can you go play a video game for a minute?
No.
You know,
You don't want to spend time with me?
A second.
I'm being rejected.
But
no.
yeah, right. And that's exactly
That's
what
how it works.
That's exactly what happens. How we got through those types of things is I find it easier for me to say to Lee, my mind is saying you're doing this on purpose. My mind is saying this is what you're doing. My soul knows better, but this is what my mind is telling me. In order to not keep a filing cabinet, in order not to have a drawer to open up that has all of those things that my mind says in a file that I can pull out later, and said, well, on March 16th, 2020, when we were having the coronavirus outbreak, you didn't bring me a glass of water, and you told me you would, right? So that goes in the file, right, to bring back out later of the 19 million things that you haven't done. And it excludes the 17 billion things that you have done. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So that's a human relationship.
So was that your thought process?
The thought pattern that she had there, though,
yeah,
we really traced it down because of what we learned in root camp.
Yeah,
this
of course.
Something that she experienced as a child, kept waiting.
Yes.
For different things to happen, whether it be from her father, whether it be from her mother. She just didn't get those things. So what happens is you start to build those things up and you learn how to shelve them.
Yeah,
you shelve them. They're shaping all kinds of different ways of relationships that you don't even know you're going to choose based on that.
So Sherry, was there a point when you figured that out? I mean, I guess prior to figuring it out.
Prior to figuring it out, I was my own worst nightmare.
You were projecting.
All the time.
And how did you make the transition? And I know y'all made it together, but I'm just curious, coming from you, because you were more connected, walking in the door. How did you make the transition to, because those thoughts or whatever you want to call it still come in.
Yeah.
How did you make the transition to no longer project?
It's a constant transition, and I still sometimes project.
Yeah.
I still sometimes will throw it out there. Now there's only 4 people that live in this house, so that cycle can't continue forever unless I start blaming the dogs for stuff, which, by the way, I have done. So it's a constant process. It's constantly in healing. I catch myself all the time wanting to say something that's not very nice, and knowing that it's not real, if that makes sense. Knowing that it's not
makes
right.
Total sense.
And in saying to him, and just out saying, hey, my mind says you got the brown one because you don't like the green ones, and I like the green ones, and you didn't get them on purpose.
So you actually state what's being said
what my
to
mind
you.
is saying.
Yes.
Yes.
And how do you take that on, Lee?
Conscious. Just
being
conscious. The more you're conscious, the more you realize that it's just sometimes, just like my own mind will make noise, her mind's going to make noise.
Of course, yeah.
And when she's in that space, all of a sudden I get just more peaceful.
Yeah.
Because I noticed I was getting triggered.
It's an exchange of energy too. You can feel when it's a connection so strong. You can feel when my energy is getting there.
Yeah.
You can feel when my energy's been compromised by something else.
Oh yeah.
And it's usually pain, physical pain. Yeah. So when my energy's compromised, my own energy's compromised, you can tell. And then he'll stop and he'll get into a more conscious state.
So, this is interesting. I love the fact you're basically getting the thought in the mind. You're no longer projecting. This is for everybody. I mean, you're no longer projecting it. You have a partner. So you're basically stating the thought. You're not judging him. You're just saying, my mind is saying this.
Yes.
Yep.
And it sounds like to me, Lee, that what happened to me was I didn't understand the nuances of Morgan. I mean, I loved her and knew her and all that, but as I'm listening to you, I can see where by her saying what she's saying, that's like a flag going up and just saying, hey, this is where I'm at. And
Yep.
instead of going into defense, you just, holding space, stabilizing your frequency
Mhm.
with or without words, probably without words, because that's probably the most.
I've learned I've learned over a period of time that what ends up happening when she goes through that is the more present I become, the less that she can actually be in that space.
Yeah.
So I usually just try to just ground myself in my body and listen. So I'm absorbing what she's saying, so she knows I'm fully listening, but I'm not taking it on to fix it or do
Yes.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that there are times when I can feel that, and then when she reaches the vulnerability, that's when I'm allowed to go in and put my arms around her and be there for her. But you get your signs. The signs do come from you because you do have a lot of noise that's who's been your onboard interpreter most of your life. So it makes a lot of sense to become conscious and speak it instead of keeping it in, because you'll shove it for later.
Then you from the masculine, then you figure out, A, I don't need to say anything in this moment. I just need to listen. And B, I don't need to fix anything.
Yes.
That was one of the things that was tricky for me, was I was like,
how do I fix this?
Well, I was like that one went first. So I got rid of that one. And then I was still like, why is this happening? What did I do? And then I started to understand that, and I guess, actually Morgan does the same thing. She'll say something and she just needs to say it. She needs to inform me, basically. And so, I get what you're saying. That's a very good.
We went through quite a few years when I'm trying to learn this, of when we were having conflict. And it was quite a few years of, you're always attacking, always on the attack, always on the attack. And it was really delivery, right? There's a big difference. And well, that was a dick move. And there's a big difference in that. And then me saying, my mind is saying that was a dick move, but my soul is saying you did it to protect us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there's a great big difference. And then we're leaving out some information. And a lot of times, then he'll come back and he'll say, that kind of was a dick move. And I didn't figure it out.
Yeah, I've been there. But you know what I learned was, well, she told me several times before I got it.
That's the way you guys are the best.
She said, you need to understand that I just want you to be the best you can be. And I was like,
Right.
Like, I told her a couple nights ago, or maybe it was on a show with somebody, that nobody could say the things she said to me, There's nobody could do it that I would have. And with her, it's just like, now it's easy. I mean, now it's not even necessary a lot at the frequency it was before. So one of the things that, and you guys are so perfect. Like, I mean, this is like being in a laboratory, like being able to examine.
Let me explain, because there's one big crucial part in all of that, is Sherry predominantly likes to come from masculine. She actually stays in the masculine positive, and I for a long time kept going to the feminine negative, which is automatic spark. But anytime I tried to stand into the masculine, I noticed I would either be choosing the negative side a lot of the times. So she actually has been healing different parts of her feminine as well, because we're all made up of both feminine and masculine energy. It's the divine that you want to look at both, because if you're not looking at both, you want the other person to represent what you're not strong at. And that's usually where we're forcing somebody into that corner where they get triggered. So I was realizing that kept happening to us. So I said, you know what? I said, I think what happens is when you shift into this, I need to be more in the neutral zone. I need to pay more attention to what you're saying. I need to stay out of either negative or positive and just stay in between, because I'm not necessarily knowing whether or not I need to do either one. I need to be in that space till you tell me what you need.
Yeah.
And usually she takes care of her needs, then I can come in.
Which is that's the right recipe. One of the big subjects or aspects of this transition that we call ascension is shadow work. And it sounds like that this is the way that you work through the shadow in yourselves.
Oh, in the deepest way, I would tell you.
So if you find yourself and you're not in alignment for whatever reason, doesn't matter, right? This is the process you go to, or do you have any other tools in your toolkit?
Ooh, we have a whole toolbox.
We do. I would tell you the biggest tool I use is the one where I can pick up whether I've opened my heart or if it's closed.
Yeah.
Because I noticed that really determines how she can communicate with me and I can communicate with myself. So when I know that I'm in my head, I automatically know I've closed my heart. So I pay attention to that, especially since we see each other, we're always with each other. Because when she can feel when my heart's closed, she'll literally look at me and go, okay, what's going on with you? Why are you quiet? You're going to get the 20 questions. And then I'll go, and then I'll be like, am I? And of course, when we start spitting that stuff out.
Oh, yeah.
And when I'm in, my heart's open, she asks me, hey, you okay? I'm like, yeah. And I'll say something random and she's going to go, okay, that was random. We're allowed to freely.
Do you ever just, when something like that occurs, do you ever just take some time to yourself and just,
Very rare. As much time as we are together, to us it feels like a lifetime, because when we're not together, more than 4 hours feels like forever.
Yeah.
But we're so connected.
It's hard to not become codependent, and I don't. Neither one of us are. Thank God. I don't know how we would do it if we were. We do, like, Lee has some hobbies. I have some hobbies, but we don't do them as often as most people, I guess, would. He likes to do car shows in the summer. I'm not a car person. I don't care to go. So he links up with a couple friends, and on very rare occasions, I link up with a couple friends and go do something. But it's not. Even when we do, we're calling home and we're seeing what's going on, and it's
or we're sending messages through
sending messages telepathically, and it's a lot of times our kids even said, well, you're codependent, and I believe there was a point in time early in our relationship where we were definitely
when we were trying to do
relationships. Yeah,
we were.
And when we were trying to do the relationship, we were for sure codependent. It's another learning process for me, especially. A lot of times when this has just happened in the past few days. A lot of times when I leave the house, whether it just be to run to the grocery store or to the bank or wherever, I will find myself in a hurry to get back for no reason. Just, I need to get back home. Just no reason. It's just where the pool is. The pool is to get back home. It's a pool. It's a spiritual pool. I'm not with my energy.
Right.
I went rogue for a minute.
You're in an alien environment.
Yes. So I try to rush around and get home. So I try to make these stops. I do a big circle. This stop, this stop, this stop, this stop, and then I get home. The other day I was out by myself and I felt that rush. I felt that pull to get home, and I thought, well, why am I doing this? I need to find the root of this. Here we go with the root again. But that's where the answers are. So I had to go down and find the root of this and really come up with, why is it that I'm hurrying up to get home? And I really come up with 3 solid reasons from past experiences why I was in such a hurry. But I stopped for a minute and I breathed and I just slowed down. And I went into every other place just without that anxiety and just without rushing. Believe me, when I got home, the house wasn't on fire and nobody had broken anything. It's fine.
And interestingly enough, though, it was my energy that was doing that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it until she brought it up. Had she not brought it up, she says, I always rush to get home, but you're gone for, you'll take 2 hours to go to the store that's 10 minutes away. I'm like, well, I'm present. So I'm not trying to be there. I'm present with you. I'm present with the connection.
Yeah.
But when she's been driving, because we just found out about an illness, I've been worried about her driving. So that's pulling. She can feel that.
Here.
Oh, I got you. I
realized I needed to let that go and just trust and just be with her wherever she's at. And I noticed that's made a huge difference in her ability to go and come.
And get there.
And I think even losing some memory stuff, I think that my worry was actually affecting that as well. So I found a way to kind of go, okay. And anybody who's been here, because we have home retreats too. They come here, they come into this connection, and they lose time.
Yeah.
Because our connection is timeless.
Yeah.
So literally, you could be in our home and you think
It's 7 o'clock and it'll feel like 2 o'clock in the morning.
It was funny because even when Sandra and Alan, they're like, it's hard to know what time it is here. We're like, yeah, it's
what part of the country y'all in?
We are in Midwest Ohio.
Yep. We're right up in between Cincinnati and Dayton.
Middle East.
Yeah.
We're in between Cincinnati and Dayton.
Yeah. Cincinnati and Dayton in Ohio.
Yeah, it's pretty. We're out here just in this rural area, and there's just some very spiritual grounds out here.
Yeah.
Some
Very cool.
Indian grounds.
So, you know, in almost 1,800 episodes now, we've had people come on here and talk about anything and everything, you know. So there is no, you know, right or wrong or whatever. But just out of curiosity, because I know you guys, there's a lot to be said for what you've been doing and what you do as far as what you offer the collective. That takes a lot of connection, and obviously you're both of you individually and together, very introspective, very much about clearing and keeping a clear channel. Have you had dimensional experiences, interdimensional apparitions, mutual hallucinations, or whatever? I mean, have you had anything like that going on?
We have had the exact same dreams at the same times, where we've woken up and we were discussing the dream, and I was like, wait a minute, that was my dream. How'd you get into my dream? What? It to the T, like colors and everything. It was crazy. But yeah, we do that.
She actually does see a lot of spirit. So a lot of spirit comes to her in her dreams.
Yeah.
I tend to leave my body while I'm sleeping. So I actually dance with a lot of orbs, a lot of energy, but some of those energies seem to be showing me different things, whether it be the all-seeing eye or whether it be paraments or whether it's showing me how, like recently in my dreams, I think one of the biggest things was understanding why I can see an Akashic record in each person and why that record looks so different in each person down to the detail. And I'm going, well, is this a DNA thing? But it seems to be more of a inherited thing, because once lines get broken in connection, they show up no matter what happens in a very fine connection. Everything that you've been connected to is showing up. The thing is, you've never investigated your connection to yourself. Yeah. So as long as you think that this is an outward experience, you'll never have the inward truth. So like we kept looking into how deep that actually goes. And she said, how are you doing this? And I said, I keep hearing voices and keep seeing things because I pick up a lot of things that most people don't. And she's like, where's this come from? I said, I wake up and it's just something new. Yeah. And I know when she's getting a download, it comes in the left ear. When I get the download, it's coming in the right ear. It's really, and it's almost now to the point to where I don't know how much more energy is going to consume us both because we keep learning so much.
Well, you'll just spontaneously combust.
I hope so. I'm hoping that's going to be the case.
So, or hubby and movie Lucy, we'll just come out with a heart with a USB thumb drive.
Yes, beautiful.
You mentioned there's a couple of others in the house. What ages are they?
My son is 11 and my daughter is about 20.
Okay. And what has it been like, particularly with the 11-year-old? There may be something, something relevant with the 20-year-old, but what's it been like having that young frequency in the middle of this holy triad that you have?
Interesting that you said that, because the most interesting thing came out of his mouth yesterday as we were laying on the couch, and clearly he doesn't have school and he's just living his best life. and he said, well, my life is great. I don't have school. I'm like, yeah. He said, I don't have the coronavirus. I said, okay. He said, we got plenty of snacks. I said, yeah. He said, but I just got to find my twin.
Wow.
I was like, oh, buddy, you're going to go through a lot of girls first.
We're leaving out a very significant part of this, is that her husband and her had this child after we met.
Yeah.
So we met in 2005. Cameron was born in 2008. So I've always been in his life and I've always felt him. So I can feel his little heartbeat on the inside of my heartbeat inside of hers. So we have this really strong connection there, but we have a really strong connection to the dad. So the dad lives with my brother. So it's kind of like you have a story of where we've actually taken our connection and changed our connection tree in our family dynamic. So literally you have this blended family where you're thinking we've known each other for years and all of our lives.
It sounds like a physical incarnation of your original monad.
It's so energetically beautiful because when somebody comes into our energy, they have no choice but to just join us in it. And you know, after I met we went into separation. I married somebody else and had a child. So we get people all the time just in a panic mode. Oh, the person I'm connected to is getting married to somebody else and they're having kids, and what am I going to do? And hello, it's going to be okay. Everything's fine. You know, it was a blessing. Cameron was born out of that blessing. And now he has his father, his stepfather, and his uncle, Lee's brother, who lives with him. He's got a lot of masculine energy around him, and 3 sisters, right? So he's got a lot of feminine energy around him. He's very intuitive, and he's very innocent still.
But the daughter's not that far behind. She's very spiritually aware too. She's very conscious.
Aware. Yeah.
As far as all the children that, you know, between us, we have 5. There's 5 of them. Right? Yeah, 5. So it's almost
we have to count the kids. Then the grandkids.
So I have 1 biological, you have 4 biological. And then from there you have grandchildren, then you have like grandchildren that have been adopted to us, and then it's just like this big huge connection piece where literally they feel our connection too. So it's almost like a unity that happened that we never even knew was possible. But,
do you guys get like well, I know you have mutual experiences but do you ever receive, like, from the me, you, we, and it, you know, from source information together, whether it be personal or collective?
Absolutely.
A lot.
Some of the channelings that we get is just, I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. It just comes out.
Is it a common practice? Is that part of your routine, or does it just happen naturally?
It's natural. It's more of nature than anything else. I would tell you, it's gotten to the point now where it's just everybody around us expects it. I mean, like I could be at the store and not have the phone, and literally I'll taste something and know that's what I gotta get.
Yeah.
Smell something, I know that's what I gotta get. I can see, it's really, I don't even know, because I even see that happening to like Cameron.
Yeah.
And the 11-year-old in all of this. Yeah. He's picking up on these kind of energy.
He'll say things like, don't forget these apples.
Yeah, he literally, it's like, there's a part there where it's like, how did this, and then literally looking back on it, if it weren't for us going inside and pulling all of this out for somebody to love all of it, we would have never figured it out.
Yeah.
I think we would have seen more separations, more disconnects, because we had so much disconnect in us. We didn't really pay attention to that.
Well, there's a strong argument or school of thought that when we're clearing generations forth, generations back. And so that's a really good point, because a lot of times people talk about that, but by the same token, if you hadn't done the work, what you just described probably would be the case, because it's energy, like attracts like. One of the big curiosities, let's just say, I mean, there's a lot of attention and distortion in regard to the term twin flames and these relationships in contemporary times. But one of the things that seems to be coming out of it is sacred sexuality, the power of the creative energy. has your intimacy, and I don't just mean by traditional terms, but I mean, has your intimacy, which can be so many things, has it evolved over time? Has it become, is it much different now than it was a year or two ago, say?
The sexual union is more powerful than it ever has
Way
been.
more, yeah.
I would tell
Yeah.
you, I mean, we've exchanged bodies. I know what it's like to feel like a woman in a lot of different ways, in ways that I didn't even want to know.
Yeah.
It's like,
Have you had like, I'm just curious, have you had like 200 female orgasms like in 30 minutes? Does that ever happen? Because it has happened to me.
I've had something like that, and I've had where I bleed every 26 days, and we go to the doctor, and the doctor can't find anything.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's down to the point where I like, okay, do I have estrogen in my system? What's going on with me? We're like, well, no, we don't know. So she literally volunteered me for a colonoscopy, which I really didn't want to have. But
no, I just needed to know that you were okay.
You don't just volunteer your twin for a colonoscopy. You just don't. But my doctor, I mean, she was like having a discussion with my doctor while I'm standing there, like I wasn't even part of the conversation. And I'm
right.
But she was really curious because I kept.
I was really concerned because
I kept going, "Hey, you're about to have your period," and she'd look at me and go, "What?" And then, like clockwork, she would have it 24 hours later. And she was
I just went to the doctor. I said, "You don't understand. He needs to be checked. This is a phenomenon." And he said, "Okay." So he gave him a colonoscopy, and there's nothing. He's fine.
Couldn't find a thing.
And it still happens. So.
And you're better for it.
I have to admit, I did not really embrace a lot of sides to myself, but this really made me see what that would mean if I did, not what if it meant if I didn't. Yeah. And I would tell you the depth of the love that we share between us now. I don't even think it's something that's measurable. Not that you could ever measure love to begin with, but compared to what it was, it's much more vast now. And she really kind of, with what she's physically going through now, I feel all of the aches, the pains, the things that she's going through. And I'm going, okay, this is new and different. But at the same time, I'm like, well, I'm going to connect to her heart and give her my energy so that way we can heal this. Because I believe without 1,000%, our connection is the cure for just about everything that's out there.
I agree with that.
Certainly
the power that is available within that connection. You guys are a great example of it. Certainly is. That is sacred sexuality. That is sacred sexual power, chi, kundalini, whatever you want to call it. I mean, yeah, no doubt. Do you ever consciously intend or apply your energy, your mutual energy, your sacred sexual energy towards manifestation, toward creativity, toward your work?
Yes. Yeah. As a matter of fact, there are, we work with people all over the world, and, sometimes 12, 13, 18 clients a day where, going, and then and every one of them we seem to connect with and have this bond with, and we will meditate and manifest things for them without them even knowing. You know what I mean? Wow. And it come to them. As for ourselves, we're bad at it.
Yeah. We are so focused on healing others.
Yeah.
I mean, we do internally heal ourselves, and we keep focusing on that healing within ourselves to help other people. But I noticed that has been something that just continues to get deeper. I don't, and I think even the way that we approach it now, even when we come to the unions and the different ways that we do it, a lot of that energy, I would say, is just for everything. It's everything is connected, because we're looking for, more times than not, every time we find something disconnected, we find a way to connect it.
Yeah.
And it's like, but you have to stay in your pain to realize that, because pain creates a lot of different stories in your mind if you're not paying attention. So once we started realizing, okay, if we can stop that and just be in the pain, we're going to understand something more beautiful about what connection is really here to give us, because it all started with that.
Right on. So, where are you guys headed from here? I mean, like, what do you guys? I know you've got the work that you do, your passion, your mission, purpose. Do you have anything that you're headed towards? Anything that
We
you
are,
We were just getting ready to go on tour, and
yeah.
this came along.
Yeah.
We're
We're
like,
supposed to be on tour, but then somebody got sick
yeah.
and then got everybody else. But we
We
are,
were supposed to be in New York, and we were
Yeah.
supposed to be in Florida. We were supposed to be in Arizona. We were supposed to be.
Yeah.
We were going to be out there.
we're
creating-
gonna continue this tour when they let us.
Yeah.
We're out speaking to people and doing conferences and workshops and seminars and things like that. We're doing root camps, going to be doing root camps. Touring for sure is going to be in our future. We're going to be doing a world tour. We're going over to Australia. We're going to do some Europe, some things.
right on?
Absolutely. And
Right
we're
on.
just
Push the envelope, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Break down those energetic doors, and other people will come right behind you.
Exactly.
So
What
I want to make sure that because I don't want to. We're pretty much out of time, but I want to make sure that can you guys let us know, and if you get a chance, now this is on Facebook. It'll be on YouTube premiering within 20, 30 minutes.
okay.
But I would, just to expand, part of the platform is to expand awareness of what people like yourselves are doing. If you could put links in the comments on Facebook and YouTube, if it resonates with you. But could you let us know how, just verbally, how do we find you? How can we get in touch with you? What do you have to offer, and anything you might have coming up that hasn't been momentarily suspended due to
Right. Well, thank goodness we work over the internet. They haven't shut that down yet. But this is how we do our work, mostly one-on-one with our clients. You can find us at relationshipreinvented.com. Relationship Reinvented being all one word, relationshipreinvented.com. You can email us at info at relationshipreinvented.com. We have a YouTube channel, Twin Flames, Lee and Sherry Patterson.
Yeah, you can just type in Lee and Sherry. I think we come up that way.
Lee and I are doing root camps. Root camps, 8 weeks, 8 weeks program. That information's on the website. As is our coaching certification is on our website as well. If you're interested in doing what we do, and we'll put you through a connection program to get you connected to yourself first.
Yeah.
And
we created something here within the last year called a connection guide, which literally will be somebody who can sit with you and find every belief system that followed you throughout, generationally. So that way you know what you're up against.
Yeah.
So that's been pretty new.
Utilizing those connection guides in our tour when we're doing conferences and seminars and things.
Absolutely.
And our connection guides are really pulling those people out who are having an issue, really understanding the connection and pulling the people out and one-on-one having conversations with them so they'll actually understand.
Right.
So yeah, Facebook group. You can find the Twin Flame support group.
Twin Flame work group.
And then we have Relationship Reinvented, the regular group.
Twin Flames, Lee and Sherry page everywhere.
Patreon. Yeah. We're all over.
We're all over the place.
Yeah.
But I think we'll
throw some links in the comments.
That's probably the easiest way.
Yeah, any links and any explanation you want to give.
We did post this on our channel as well, and we did post that it would be, they could either come to the Zoom link to watch it, or they could actually view it on YouTube. Yeah. So that is on our community. So we'll make sure we keep putting it out there. We appreciate you so much for having us today. You and Morgan.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. I'd love to get together and collaborate with y'all again. It's
absolutely. Absolutely.
We've just touched on the tip of the iceberg.
We're going to
go on for years.
We're doing another panel I think is going to be an astrology thing.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Be fun. Yeah. That's in a couple of weeks, and it's supposed to be a panel of twin flames. So that'll be
interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's been a very quick hour, but I really enjoyed it. Thank you for lifting my spirits.
We can talk. We can another hour. We can talk.
Well, I'm from Texas. I can talk too, but I just I really enjoyed it. Nice. You guys have great energy. Thank you for sharing space with us. And
Thank you
with your presence.
Yeah.
That's a badass hoodie you got there, whatever that is.
Thank you. Yes, it's a Metatron cube.
Yeah, that's Metatron on steroids.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Peace
you.
out. All right. See you till the next time.
Yeah.
All right.